Max Verstappen is the hottest driver in the Formula One right now. His teammate is Pierre, but is he gonna meet the standard? Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, to another episode of A Girl Talks Formula One. Today I am going to be talking to you about episode 5 on Drive to Survive. Today's title, Great Expectations. I think we would all know a little bit about that. Haven't we all been expected to be so greatly when sometimes we weren't necessarily that great? Well, this is exactly what this episode is about. But who am I talking about? Let's find out. The episode starts in a very family-oriented environment. You know, Geri Halliwell, ex-Spice Girl, and Christian Horner, Red Bull's team principal, are married. They each have one child from their previous marriages, and they have another child together. They are all having breakfast as a family, and mommy starts asking each and every one of them who their favorite Formula One driver is. We hear a little bit about everything. Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, but nobody is saying a Red Bull driver until they make the youngest one say Max Verstappen. And Daddy, until Christian Horner clarifies her and goes like, well, Daddy is not a driver, but thank you. Since they have lost Daniel Ricciardo, it has been super unexpected. And they've been struggling to find the proper teammate for Max Verstappen. They ended up hiring Pierre, but he hasn't been achieving those great expectations they're looking from him. Ever since the start with the team, he has been struggling nonstop. There is not a race that he doesn't crash, he doesn't finish in a bad position, he doesn't have to abandon the race. And as Christian Horner says, getting 7th, 6th, 8th, even 5th does nothing for me. We are a big league team and we want to be in the top tier. We go all the way to Monaco. It's the biggest event of the year, full of extravaganza, glamour, money, and so much luxury. Let's not forget about the partying and that it's one of the most challenging tracks since it is street style. As we were mentioning before, Pierre Gasly had a terrible start with Red Bull. He crashed twice on pre-testing, but Christian Horner still has big hopes for him that he can actually redeem himself and remain in the Red Bull team. On practice day in Monaco, Pierre Gasly made a mistake and he received a penalty because of it. He actually slipped in a bump and his car slipped out of the track. And as Christian Horner tells us, Formula One is all about the pressure. And a little piece of advice that he has for Pierre Gasly is don't be a hero on the first lap. Pierre has to redeem himself and regain his confidence. I mean, this doesn't only happen in the Formula One, but when you're doing poorly in whichever area of your life, it's so easy to start losing your confidence and start doubting yourself about whether you can actually achieve your task or not. And this is exactly what is happening to Pierre. Monaco was so aggressive. Charles Leclerc hit the barrier, there was so much bumping into and so much aggressiveness. The race was definitely full of competition. I mean, bring it on, baby. And we all know Max Verstappen is actually quite good. He was pushing so hard to beat Lewis Hamilton. He started very low on the grid and he ended up in second place. Unfortunately, he made contact with Lewis on the first lap, and despite Lewis having very bad tires, he still managed to win the race. Well, I mean, that's no surprise to any of us, but it's quite impressive what he did. Pierre Gasly finished in 5th. What's ironic though is that Max Verstappen finishes in 5th and he's congratulated by Christian. Pierre Gasly finishes in 5th and he loses his seat? Wait, what? Formula One can definitely take over your life. I caught Christian Horner. Only time will tell if Pierre is at Max's level, but apparently he is not. We go all the way to Montreal and we can see Pierre Gasly looking at his data once again. And like Christian Horner says, Pierre looks at his data way too much. He basically doesn't drive by instinct. At the Grand Prix though, Sebastian Vettel was at the lead. Max Verstappen had a really good start, but Pierre Gasly definitely had to push. We all know Max is pretty aggressive when it comes to driving. I mean, he's definitely got world champion potential, and as he says, what I really like about racing is driving to the limit. I mean, that sounds pretty intense if you ask me. I don't like driving to the limit, but this is a Formula One, and I would definitely ride with one of the drivers just to see what it feels like. Just to see what it feels like. I'm not much of an adrenaline junkie myself. Are you? So this Grand Prix, Lewis won again. Max started at 9th and finished up in 5th. Yeah, on the other hand, went backwards. He ended up in 8th place. Then to forget a little bit about the race, we transport ourselves to Rouen, France, where Pierre Gasly lives, and he tells us that he left home when he was just 13 years old. So every single moment that he can spend it with his family, he does. Pierre's parents are his biggest supporters, and they have sacrificed so much for him to be where he is today. And then not everything is cherries, pies, and rainbows. We go to Spielberg, Austria. This is Red Bull's hometown race. Max, great overtaker. Pierre, not so much. Almost at the end of the race, Charles and Max were battling against each other. Max had contact with Charles. You know, Max having contact with other drivers is pretty much as Lewis Hamilton winning. Not shocking at all. Either way, having contact with Charles Leclerc made him get off of the track without abandoning the race, by the way. But this definitely helped Max win the Grand Prix in Austria. Pierre, on the other hand, finished in 7th. So Christian Horner tells us Pierre was promoted to Red Bull prematurely. Well, let me remind you, Chris, you were the one that chose him, not us. So, yeah, is a great driver nowadays, as we know, but this caused Pierre Gasly to lose his seat. But Red Bull still needs 2 drivers. So who is going to be the driver to be with Max on the last races of the season? If you don't know the answer, find it out next week on another episode of A Girl Talks Formula One.